subjects, right? What the heck?
There are dead geese and swine on the Charles, looking like it's saying breaking evidence suggested it's the avian flu in Massachusetts. Bull crap, bull crap. That was just reported today. And you got more stuff happening too. We're going to show the images and photos close up. What's going on, everybody? Like, look, nobody is reporting this right now, but I'm telling you, we got to get ready in the next couple of days. And I'm going to give you information on that too. Check out this too, though, right here, what they're saying. 3 hours ago, make sure to stay away from any dead birds, or it's a good idea to report the sight of dead crows to the Department of Natural Resources. So now they're like, oh my God, there's health concerns with the freaking birds now. We've turned on Haarp. Now we gotta like make everybody think that it's the avian flu. All right, don't worry. I'm giving you the information on the entire layout of what we're looking at in the next couple of days. But check this out. One more thing. Remember we talked about the mile-wide volcano set to erupt off the west coast that they were saying this year potentially might happen. We got information on that, and where Haarp is positioned just is just too specific. Let's get to this real quick. How did I figure out the Haarp situation? Look right here on the screen. There was a transmission notice that went out. If you look at the bottom of the screen, it says January 2025 update. On that January 2025 update, we then found out
there's a big secret being hidden from drivers, so listen up before this video gets removed. If you're being insured by
5 update, we then found out that they start January 28th, but they're going to be hitting us through February the 2nd. And it says with operating times specified in the table below, operating frequencies will vary, but all Haarp transmissions will be between 2.75 to 10 millihertz. Actual transmit days and times are highly variable based on real-time ionosphere, which is the sky, and or geomagnetic conditions. And we got the dates and the times and all that stuff too. Here's the thing though, we just told you off the coast. Let's look at this map right here, the climate viewer map right here on screen. This is where a Haarp heater is, and this is not all of them, but look, right on the west coast. Look where it's at. It's right next to that area where the axial seamount is. So if they attenuate this thing and they're dumb enough to freaking do this and they want to cause devastation off the west coast, it's exactly what they'll be doing. Now they said they're going to be going from this 2.0 frequency to 10 frequency, which is classified as a very low frequency. So just because you looked on there and you seen the Haarp heater, like I'm showing right now on screen, that's just positional points where a Haarp is at, and that's not even it. So when we hear VLF, there is more to it. These are all the VLF areas. Like in the past next couple of days, just it's time for us to get in our mental health, our bodily health, our spiritual health, and then you got the big circular point at the top, which drops down like the water is going into the inside of the earth. So look at all the VLF around the world right now. And so we're looking at the comments right here. What's going on, everybody? How y'all feeling right now? I want to know, because this is going to definitely largely start to hit us. Let's get into the real deep dive now here. So a guy comes out on his ham radio, and I look at it, and he was initially how I started looking at it today. Actually, he posted one yesterday, again today. Haarp was possibly active on HF Today's research campaign. It wasn't possibly, it is happening, buddy. And check this out right here. So here is the other parts of what they're talking about. January 28th, we got them conducted from 0600 to 0900. People in the comments will read stuff like this, military terms, tell everybody what 0600, 0900 mean in chat after this is over. January 29th, 0000, 0830. And then you can see the 30th, 000 to 0430, and they got down the bottom, 31st, 0330, February 1st, 0230. I'm thinking that means from 2:30 to 9:30, and February 2nd from 4:30 to 11:30. I'm thinking that. It continues into UTC Day, January 3rd.
Now remember, those are morning, because military afternoon is 13. That'd be after 12 o'clock. The 1 becomes 13, the 2 becomes 14, the 3 becomes 15. If you know the 3 times tables, it's easy to do military time. 3, 6, 9, 12. The same numbers become 15, 21, 15, 18, 21, and then 24.
First. So they're attenuating us for the next couple of days. Now, what does these frequencies do? We're going to be talking about that here in just a few, because we're always the ones that get this information out so that you can position yourself and be ready and prepared for these oncoming looming scenarios. Okay, somebody says 0600 means 6 a.m. 0900 means 9 a.m. Okay, cool. Like, everybody putting that in the chat. So you'll be able to see that even after the video is over. So we have all that decoded. So whatever you don't get, just scroll through the comments and you'll get more of it. Check it out on screen. Additional resources for reading ionograms. This is for HF readers, propagation and reading ionograms for Bootstrap Workbench. Take a screenshot of that, look at it, so then you can come back and say, hey, we've been watching Haarp. We know what's going on. Now let's break down into simplified terms. VLF, very low frequency. We told you DARPA did a contract for that. But VLF disturbs our nervous system, and with more attenuation, you get tingling and cardiovascular problems, checks blood. All of this stuff is what in the coming days that could be affected by these situations. And don't forget, Mike Poland about this axial seamount Yellowstone volcano observatory expressed excitement about this event. He's excited. Psychopathic dude is excited that, you know, this volcano could potentially erupt. It's crazy how the cool, nicest looking people could turn out to just be psychopaths, right? So Michael Pollan is very excited about the potential redevelopment and reconstructing of the land. And the man is a psychopath, so I had to say it one more time. So moving into this right here, though, when we're talking VLF, these are what range we're falling into and what we're going to be hit with in the next coming days. Now, moving further here, what can we do about that? So again, this is what it says first. Nerve and muscle stimulation, levels of VLF radiation potentially stimulate nerves and muscles, causing tingling sensation. Charge acclimation, VLF exposure may lead to a buildup of electric charge on the body surface. Cardiovascular effects, some studies suggest potential impacts on the cardiovascular system and very high VLF exposures. So if you're looking on the screen and you've seen that you're really close to a VLF site or even a Haarp site, then you just need to really start positioning yourself and saying, okay, well, the first thing we need to look at is to get oxygen from the atmosphere. That's our first objective, because a lot of this is pulling oxygen right out of the atmosphere, an essential nutrient, which then disturbs the body.
That also works in heat. Y'all remember the summer? A lot of people were saying, man, I opened the door from my house. I ain't even stepped out yet. It done took my oxygen away, took my breath away. Oh, it's the machine though.
Body, which then disturbs inflammation, the whole ecosystem of the body, because we need oxygen to survive. It's essential. Activated carbon is going to be important. To get that clean air is going to be very important. Like I said, damaged nerve tissue. I'm working out and exercising every day. If you can get a little bit higher output of oxygen, that's a good thing. Also, to clean out lungs, like I like to do the steam-like showers and stuff like that. You got vitamin B12 that you need to be, like blueberries. I do that for damaged muscle tissue all the time. Pomegranates, beets, folate, all this stuff. We're gonna, like, because the immunity lowering happens happened through the fog, but now it looks like we got a second phase. So I believe the factor was, and I want to hear what you believe here in the comments, but it looks like they needed to hit us with the fog. And then from the fog, when we seen the studies put out, I don't care what anybody says about, oh, their experience, it was hundreds of people saying that they got sick, hundreds. And so the thing is, like, we have to use these reports and be wise with them. And remember, the breakage of DNA starts to happen as well. But remember, we talked about pine needle oil, and if you don't dry them out, I got a lot of lollipop pine. Couldn't even hardly say that. I got a lot of lollipop pine. Yeah, I got a lot of lollipop pine. But if you go on the picture of this app and you take a picture, you can see, and it won't be toxic, it won't be poisonous, and that's really good for the coating and protection of the DNA. Effects of extract from pine needles against oxidative DNA damage. Again, oxidative damage over the next couple of days is what we're looking out for. Now, reflecting electromagnetic radiation, if you have in your house right now, you probably do, some type of copper, some type of nickel, some type of silver material, you can use that to potentially shield yourself as well, which is like basically Faraday.
Now, get rid of all the devil worship and made up imaginary friends. Perhaps was that Kemet, what they were doing with all the copper and the gold on, that they wasn't actually being worshipped as gods, but protecting themselves from
style material. You look on screen right here. A fabric that can effectively shield against VLF. It's called Faraday fabric. It usually can be made with woven mesh conductor materials, copper, nickel plated fibers embedded in polyester base. There you go.
So what was our ancestors telling us?
One of the first questions I get asked by
They're
brand
gonna
new
tell you that's heresy.
Somebody says, oh shoot, what's with the fog? We're under a fog alert tonight. I'm not going out in it. Oh shoot, I didn't know that was happening right now, Carly W. But if so, be careful, that's for sure here. And yeah, some people talking about the snow is very thick, and you're saying there was a gray color and the fog is setting in. Somebody told me to get some samples and send it out. However, the next couple of days, what you're going to get is some attenuation from Haarp. And this is going to lead us all into February. And I don't know if it goes past that, but that's what's documented in these reports. These are official Haarp reports that I believe is highly
running that machine for that control, huh? Ooh, it's deep out there.
So interesting, right? Isn't CERN also an international investment in technology? So the reason I'm showing this to you is to demonstrate or give you an example of what the CIA is capable of. And it shows that the CIA has for a very long time been active in Switzerland. Now, why Switzerland? Well, as the article states, Swedish cryptologist Boris Hagelin established Crypto AG in 1952. Hagelin deliberately chose to base the business in Switzerland because, as the CIA source notes, when one was engaged in a sensitive business like cryptography, better to seek the protection of a neutral country with fewer moral scruples. So I want to take a closer look at this idea that the CIA has headquarters stationed underneath Lake Geneva, and how CERN may be using its tunnel system as an entrance to transport agents and God knows what else to and from this underwater base. If this is true, folks, then what else is true about CERN?
A whole lot of other stuff that we've been seeing that only you're gonna get on the internet.
Soviet and communist diplomats. It was known for being a spy town. It's no secret. So the CIA being active in Switzerland to this very day makes sense, especially if they have a historical presence there. The question here is, what is their involvement with CERN? I guess the answer to that is everything. They know every single thing that is going on there. They keep documents on the place. You can read them for yourself. The theory is that there is a CIA headquarters beneath Lake Geneva. Now, that could mean several things. That could mean underground, under the lake, at the bottom of the lake. That could mean it's sort of under the lake, but not really. CERN is about 5 miles or 8 kilometers from the lake, so would they really run a tunnel system from CERN to the lake? There is the LHC, and between the LHC and the lake, there's the airport. So it would be a convenient location, to say the least. You know what? I'll give them that, sure. If they can build a 27-kilometer particle accelerator deep underground, they can build a room under the lake. The darker question is, then why do you need such concealment? What could you possibly be doing in a place under the ground, under the lake? That sounds like a place you would go to put together monsters. Build a monster. Actually, I do want to talk about that, building monsters, but in another video. I'll do that in another video. But you know, CERN has naturally attracted the attention of governments and intelligence agencies worldwide. Technologies developed or utilized at CERN, such as the World Wide Web, a tool you could use to spy on anyone who is connected to it. Of course, CERN is going to be of interest to agencies like the CIA. Secret tunnels to CIA headquarters. CERN identified as secret entrance to subterranean CIA headquarters beneath Lake Geneva in Switzerland. Now, this is a pretty extensive article with chapters, so let me give you the short version. This article by Medea Greer claims that CERN serves as a secret entrance to a hidden CIA headquarters located beneath Lake Geneva. According to the theory, the CIA's base is situated in underwater alpine canyons within the lake, accessible by underground trains from CERN or submarines through a 170-mile subterranean tunnel extending from Genova, Italy to Lake Geneva. It suggests that CERN's LEP tunnel functions as a cover, shuttling CIA personnel to the headquarters. The north area of CERN is supposed to be the CIA's covert operational site, while CERN's supercomputer is claimed to be used by the agency for global espionage, market manipulation, and other hidden activities. The article also ties CERN to apocalyptic scenarios, claiming it could create black holes or trigger catastrophic events. And it cites interpretations of the CERN logo and popular culture references like Dan Brown's Angels and Demons. There is a woman named Dr. Astrid Stuckelberger, who was on Z Media back in 2022. Here's a little clip from that interview.
You already track how far you've gone, the forecast each day, your packages, and your sleep. It's time for an easy way to track your glucose. Meet Stello, the powerful glucose biosensor available without a prescription that tracks glucose 24/7 to reveal how food, exercise, and even sleep can affect your glucose, helping you become a...
From that interview.
So when some scientists, not infection disease, but like we did in WHO, when you have something killing birds, falling down from from the sky. This had happened in the past, and we were there doing exercises. So what is it? If you're a detective of public health, you have to start thinking, I cannot just look at one thing. I have to go study the strain of many things. So it can be a virus, a bacteria, parasite, or other agents. Then it can be a chemical agent. And chemical needs chemistry, and it needs biomolecular chemistry, very high advanced expertise to study that. And the last typology is radionuclear, and this is also very, very expert. It is the International Atomic Agency that takes care of radionuclear, the AIAE. I can never say the name. They're based in Vienna, and they're part also of the CERN. But they are at the moment selling PCRs just by chance. But there is a typology missing that I see clearly today. It is where oxide graphene fits, because oxide graphene, from what I see, is really in the hands of the chemists or the biochemists. But in fact, the oxide graphene is such, it's an intelligent component that has properties that go beyond radionuclear and chemical. It goes to electromagnetic fields.
Before we sorry, if I can just pause you.
Yes,
you just said something which made my ears prick up. They are part of CERN.
Yes, because actually CERN is dealing with radionuclear research.
Right.
It's nuclear research, but it is more than that, because there are lots of physicians. I know some. They're doing very strange experimentation. There are beings from portals coming in and out. It's physicists from the CERN who told me this.
They've testified to beings coming in and out of portals.
Yes. And they were saying, I met them at a dinner, and there were two of them, and both said that, yes, they have, secondhand proof that the people who they're dealing with the boson of Higgs and the subatomic things. So they have apparently in the bottom of the CERN this portal, this door where they are dealing with all the subatomic dimensions. They say there are 17 different dimensions of reality. That's what those physicists say. Some others say there are more dimensions. We know the time, space, the tridimensional X, Y, Z in a graphic. But then you have more dimensions, and they are playing with that. They're using that, and we're a group, and they had a being. They did not tell me more. Who came that doesn't resemble a human, and then they had another one, and they have a proof because they left a scarf. They left a scarf, and now when you look at what is going on in the CERN, there is a fight from some of the military agencies. Intel, they say that there is a fight on time. They're trying to change time. And I'm just saying that because as a scientist, you cannot not say something so important. Because if you can deal with the most...
Pause. Time. They wanted to go back to the Big Bang, which would make a faith person supposed to ask, why we want to go back to the beginning? If the end is no different than the beginning, it's like a Harry Truman door that, depending on what you did in your life and what the judgment is for you, will depict on what's going to happen. So Chronos is the animation of time. Attached by that animation is called Saturn. So the scriptures say day 4, right? Or the opening seal of the atmosphere of 4, which is death, the pale horse, right? See how it makes sense? But that's your revelations, though. The 6 chapters 6, the 4 horsemen and all that. The white, the red. The white is Sagittarius on the boat. Got him. Then the red guy is the war. Y'all seen the green little dude in Egypt when they were doing a little, man, it was like 15 years ago. You seen the little thing come down. But see, that was Sagittarius. See what I'm saying? The pale. Well, that one would be the bull with the white horse. That's not Christ. You see what I'm saying? Anything of this world ain't of the realm of where we from. So you got beings and you got mankind. And then you got monstrosities. All right? Mankind, monstrosities mix. They got hybrids. God's people's souls never mix nothing. All right? We might be ignorant, but we ain't do all that crazy stuff. So time, day 4, is the producing of this world. And you make your kind, that was planets or wandering stars, and of the animation, mythological, angel or gods, you like to call them, but the animations of one thought that you project within yourself. See? The battle is not yours, it's the Lord's, but in us is the battle, the war.
The smallest energies on Earth, you can imagine that you can go through other realms of dimensions, you know.
So yeah, I couldn't verify that there are any portals beneath CERN. CERN is a tough nut, a real tough nut.
Right, Henry Abrego?
If
Ukraine.
you were able to take a look at the list of experiments they have going on at CERN, you would start to catch on to a theme. And it's the sun, light, and darkness. They are essentially and literally breaking open the light to release the darkness. And no scientists at CERN can argue what I just said.
I transform. No, it says he, Kronos, Saturn, written in your Bible, the devil, transform as a minister, angel of light. What did you just say? Of course, the Antichrist.
What they do is they take photons, they take light particles, and smash them together at extremely high speeds to create a collision that breaks the light particles into smaller particles. Now, typically what happens is those smaller particles, which are quarks and gluons, spray into jets.
Plasma energy.
Or hadrons. The jets are held together by a strong nuclear force. Now, a hadron is when you have 3 quarks glued together by gluons. That type of hadron is called a baryon, which makes up most of everything around us. It makes up most of matter. Then there is another type of hadron called a meson, which is 1 quark glued to an antiquark. And so you have this spraying jet stream of hadron particles coming out of the collision. And those particles would be considered the building blocks of protons and neutrons. They can't separate from each other, so they form jets instead of them all going in their own direction. There are electrons, muons, and tau particles that fly out of the collision as well. And then you have bosons, which are the particle forces. There's the electromagnetic force, the weak force, the strong nuclear force, and the force which gives the particles mass. That's what the Higgs boson is. And that's pretty much it. I mean, that's as simple as I could put it. But sometimes there are rare particles, exotic particles, phenomena that occur. Most of the time, those particles that come out of the collision break down or decay into other common particles. But sometimes some of those particles seem to decay into nothing. They seem to just vanish into thin air, as if the particles came into our dimension briefly and then re-entered or got sucked back into its own dimension. And that is where this dark matter part comes in, because they can detect the movement and the energy of these particles, and they can see at times that there is missing energy. It's like the particles came out of the collision and was supposed to follow a certain path, but the particle never made it there. It went missing.
Written out of the book, not in the precious jewel of the Most High. Of course, it's out here roaming. Duh. But you that particle, though.
Now, that's the best way I can explain it as to what happens inside the LH.
So, the CERN, right? The machine is your world. Hello, wake up. The chariot of the space, Milky Way, spinning. Don't it spin? Don't it take particles? Don't it collide them together? Don't you call them nebulas? Don't you say shooting star, comet, meteorite? Come on, stop this nonsense, man. That's the macro of what we doing down here in on the micro, or that is the supernatural of what we do on the artificial, playing around like such as light bulbs and all of that. Plasma, baby, stop playing with me, man. You have the power within you, all things. No such thing as an invention. So watchers watching you put you in a Ghostbuster Slimer trap. You know what I mean? Come on with that. Braka, thanks for coming out. HSE-TV Entertainment. I'm your host, B.C. the Ivetwood, B.C. the Tishvite, or B.C. the Hebrew, whichever seems true to you. Other than that, we ain't gonna ramble, make it long. We got 33 minutes on the books. Braka.